Okay, so am I audible? Can you guys can type in the chat box to confirm. We're just waiting for a few more people to join, and we start in 5 minutes. Okay, so until you guys are waiting, we've actually prepared a small video for you guys, and you can watch that until while you're waiting. Right. So we can start now. I think 88 of you have joined. Just let me know if you can hear me. So don't worry about the teams and everything else. So some of you would have gotten a link to join a Google Meet. You may not have gotten permission to enter the meetings yet. Don't worry about that. Once the live stream is over, then you can all start joining your meeting rooms and we can start the interaction part of the presentation. Okay, so don't worry about the Google Meet right now, just focus on the presentation. Right, so first of all, thanks for joining in. My name is Siddharth Gautam. I'm the club secretary, and this presentation is to tell you more about the Debating Society of IIT Guwahati. We want to tell you what we've been doing before you guys joined, why you should join the club in the first place, and how you can join the club eventually as well. In fact, when I released the posters, a lot of people messaged me asking, what is debating and what do you guys really do? I mean, why do you guys seriously just meet to debate, right? So I think we should first start with a section on what exactly is the kind of debating which we at the club do, and what is the Debsoc at IIT Guwahati, right? So to tell you more about that, we actually have Animesh Mishra, who was the secretary of the Debating Society last year. He's currently a fourth year in the civil department. So yeah, Animesh.
Hello. So, am I audible?
Yeah.
Just give me a thumbs up if my internet stops behaving itself in the middle, so that I can refresh it.
Okay.
So that cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do I need to switch on my video? If
you can.
okay, cool. I'll do this. It's actually better. So yes. Hello everyone. Cool. So, hello everyone. So, the idea behind having this sort of orientation or this interaction session, especially for a club like ours, is to introduce you firstly to the concept of debating, because I think a lot of people have a completely different understanding of what debating clubs in universities do. One of the reasons is because our opinions are generated from the fact that we watch news channel debates. We see it in mainstream of how debating is, and we develop that sort of understanding. So I think first thing which you guys should do is to clean all the things that you know about debating prior to this. And the idea is therefore to tell you about a more what kind of debating that we actually get into when you get to universities, the rules and regulations, everything, right? But the broad idea is to give you a bird's eye view of the things that we get into. So firstly, debating का अच्छा word हम लोग use कर सकते हैं competitive debating, क्योंकि this is actually what so basically what we do here is कि you have two things here. एक debating में तुम्हारा होता है कि you always have a bone of contention in a debate. That is, whenever you are arguing. So, for instance, you have the farm law. जिसमें you have you have one side which says, you know what, the farm laws are great, and then you have the other side which says, you know what, the farm laws are bad. So in debating, you always have that bone of contention. So even in the debates which you see in the news channels, you always have that bone of contention always lying there. But what makes debating completely different from, say, giving speeches or, say, having discussions is the fact that you always tend to engage with the other person when you are debating. Okay? So I think that is what makes debating as such different from other forms of interaction or engagement, where you actually have to get to the other person and engage with his arguments and engage with what notions or what ideas he's speaking. So essentially, this makes debating as such different from other forms of engagement, like you have discussion or you have your speech giving. So competitive debating, a better way to understand competitive debating is more like understanding. This is a very vague analogy, but I think this perfectly fits in this case. Is that coding is to competitive coding what debating is to competitive debating. So you have more excitement, you have more logic, you have to come up with concepts, you have to come up with principles faster, and this is how you go about in competitive debating. So it's actually the I'll just tell you about the broad rule of how this actually works. Is that you, just like in any other debate, you have a side which proposes the motion, and you have a side which opposes the motion. This is the general format of any debate. And in this competitive debate format, you have a team. So you have a propositions team, and you have the opposition team. And essentially, what you have to do is you have to come up with a case for your motion, for whatever motion that is. And your case has to be prepared in 20 minutes. So this is what the idea, the broad bird's eye view of idea of what competitive debating is. You will come to know about what the nitty-gritties of the rules and regulations are once you get into the club. But the idea is to give you a broad understanding of this. So the technical term used for this is parliamentary debating or Asian parliamentary debating. But again, it's a fancy term, nothing to worry about. The only thing is, the point is therefore to understand that this debating is completely different from the kind of things that you see in news channels and in other mainstream debates that you mostly see in the internet. Okay? The second thing which is important to understand is that unlike the usual idea that we have of debates where, you know what, you have to be aggressive, or you know what, you have to be smart, or you know what, you have to have the flair of language. I think that is also a misconception of what people have about debating, and that is one of the deterrents as to why most freshers don't join the club. They feel, you know what, I have to be great at speaking, or you know what, I have to be aggressive. And I think that is also wrong, because competitive debating is more about the fact that whether you are able to come up with principles, and what exactly does this word principle mean. You will understand it eventually once you get into this thing, right? But the broad idea is that it has nothing to do with your flair of language. It has nothing to do with your ability to be aggressive or you being smart or not. It's all about whether you have the will and whether you want to improve in this, and whether you can apply logic or not, right? So this is the general understanding of university debates. The second thing, before we get, yes, exactly. So you don't really debate like the ones that you see on Republic TV. Exactly, that's my point. So the best example of how not to debate is to see news channels, and you will understand. That gives you a perfect example of how not to debate. So I guess that is mostly it. You will definitely come to know more about, because see, the point is, whenever we introduce anyone to debating, it's always intimidating. It always feels like you have so many things, so many rules, so many things you have to consider. So I guess that is one thing that you have to just keep aside, and remember that whenever you are coming here, nobody is expected to know everything about. Nobody is expected to have flair in speaking and in able to debate and argue. But the point is that to start, and therefore the idea is that this club gives you the platform to do that, right? The second thing which I just want to briefly touch upon is that a lot of you must have done debates in your school. So just before I start off with this, I just want to know how many of you have debated before in school. Just give me a yes or a no in comment section. A yes or a no. If you have debated in schools, whether it is interstate or whether it is inter-house or inter-school, whatever. Okay, so we have a couple of yes. No. Okay, great. Yes, plus. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so
Wow.
cool. I got it. So we have a fairly balanced. Okay, got it. I got it. So we have a fairly balanced crowd here. So it's very natural that a lot of you might have debated in school, or might have gone for interstate competition or inter-school competition, inter-house competition. But here's where I want to draw the distinction that university debates are not even remotely close to what you do at school. What I get from what people usually do at school, because I used to debate during school, is that you have a motion, and then you have to come up with your points. You are given a day maybe to prepare your entire speech and everything. You memorize it, and after that you blurt it out. That is literally how you go about debating. So it's just like giving speeches, and that is what debating gets reduced to when you do it in school. But that is literally that is not exactly the thing that we do at universities. You get 20 minutes, as I mentioned earlier. You get 20 minutes you prepare your case, and therefore a more important thing therefore becomes the fact that it's not really about the fact that whether you are able to come up with interesting figures and interesting facts to support your to support your case. It's more about whether you are able to come up with principles and logic to counter. Again, this, it is easier said than done. Once you start doing it, once you start practicing, you will come to know it gradually and eventually. But the point is to just have it in your mind that debating is not about being good at English. Debating is not about being aggressive. Debating is not about being eccentric. It's not about.
Animesh, your audio is not. I can't hear you.
I think he kind of lost the connection.
Yeah, that's okay. I think he had made his point. We can wait
Yeah.
for a minute, and otherwise we can continue. Um, so I think gotten
Um,
disconnected, so that's not a big deal.
I
Right,
think it's
but
back. Yeah.
is
Continue.
that?
Continue.
Did I get disconnected in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
middle?
you got disconnected. Yeah,
Okay,
you
cool.
can
So I,
finish. Yeah.
okay, okay, sorry. So yeah, that is mostly it. So I've almost covered everything. In why should you debate? What exactly do we do? So what exactly do we do? You will come to know once you start debating. Once you join the club, you will eventually understand. But mostly, just like any other club, we have weekly debates, which obviously Siddharth will tell you about. We go to other colleges, we debate with them, we have discussion sessions, we have open debate, which will Siddharth will obviously cover later on. But yeah, I guess that is mostly it from my side. Thank you.
Right. So I think you guys have a good idea of what exactly debating is. I mean, no one expects you to have 100% understanding, but hopefully you get a flavor of how it is similar to the debates you have done in school or with your friends, where the essence is to think logically and come up with points and counterpoints to something. But at the same time, there are certain differences in how you've been doing it before. And yeah, so it's great to see a very active comment section. I think you were also debating about whether schools are a scheme and things like that, and a lot of thirsty tweets as well. So that was funny. Okay, so now that we have some sort of understanding of what debating is and the fact that the Debsoc is engaged in debating, I think a good question for you guys is why should you come to Debsoc, or rather, how will you improve as a person if you join Debsoc, and what Debsoc can give you, right? And that's actually what I want to talk about right now. So the first, I think, most important thing which Debsoc gives you is a base level knowledge in a lot of different fields, right? If you can look past the jokes my juniors seem to have made, the idea in debating, so as Animesh said, that for any debate, you actually only get 20 minutes to prepare your case, right? So you have to give a speech after only 20 minutes of preparation. Now, for some of you, that might seem scary, but the reason we are able to do that in tournaments and in practice sessions is because we spend a lot of time reading about various topics behind the scenes. So it's either whether you're following the news or you're reading about philosophy, you're reading about various topics in current affairs, things like that. So there's a lot of knowledge there's a lot of reading we try to do to make our arguments better and make our arguments more sound when we actually go for debates. So if you're somebody who is very interested in a very broad range of topics, right? Like maybe you want to know a little bit about philosophy and maybe see what that's like. You want to know a little bit about history, maybe about politics, and basically a lot of different, social issues, a lot of different fields. If that's something you want to do while you're at college, and you want to become a more well-rounded person and not just work 4 years in engineering, this is the club for you, because as a debater it's very important for us to know about all of these different things so that we can actually apply them to debates, right? And the secondary aspect of being in the debate club is improving speaking skills. Now, many of us, in fact, when we joined the debate club in our first year, were not very comfortable speaking, and especially in a crowd, and we could not like a long duration of time. We had stage fright and things like that. But because we like practice on a weekly basis, right, and because we go for these tournaments where we have to speak almost 3 to 4 speeches a day, you slowly are able to build these skills as being a member of the club. So if you're somebody who's not comfortable speaking right now, you should not be scared of joining the club. Rather, if you're somebody who wants to improve their speaking skills and wants to learn how to put the points which they're thinking of across, this is the debate club definitely helps you with that. Because I'm sure, having clear JE and things like that, you guys have a lot of good ideas about various topics, but you may have some problem in actually delivering these ideas or communicating these ideas to other people. But this is something which we do on an almost daily basis as members of Debsoc. And you get very, very good at this to the point where, right now it might be difficult for you to speak for 1 or 2 minutes at a stretch. But in a debate, we actually have to give speeches for 7 minutes. And from a person who can only speak for 1 or 2 minutes at a stretch, you end up becoming a person who wants more than 7 minutes to get his points across, because 7 minutes is just too little time. So it actually becomes difficult for you to fit everything you have to say within 7 minutes. So one thing which we can definitely promise you is that if you do join the club, you will drastically improve as a public speaker and at putting your points across. And the reason we're able to say this is because we've seen this transformation happen with various club members in the past, right? And yeah, so this is the confidence when presenting your ideas, that because it's not just that you're good at speaking, because whenever you think of a certain point, right, you analyze it yourself. Like you think of what are the advantages of a particular point and what are the disadvantages of a particular point. Therefore, when you state something, you're much more confident that it's you're saying something which makes sense and it actually has some relevance, right? So this is why you become more confident in speaking as a member of the DevSoc. So this is this is something which it's a good thing and a bad thing. So because of the pandemic, we have ever since we have come back home, most clubs had to stop their operations because it's not possible for many clubs to operate from home, right? They need the campus environment. But since there are a lot of platforms available in meeting platforms and things like that, that we get to do online debates, and there are a lot of platforms which we can use for that, and therefore club activities have not stopped ever since we came back home, right? So I know all of you are like very, very eager to go back to campus, and you want like that taste of what college life is and what it is to join cultural clubs. The thing is, at the current moment, many clubs will not be able to give you that experience because they need to be in the campus to function properly. But if you're the member of if in Debsoc, the club has pretty much gone on unaffected. We still have weekly debates. We still have discussions on various topics. In fact, we've even gone for online debate tournaments. So if you want, in one word, we would say that we are the closest to actually getting to experience what joining a club in college is like. And that's one huge advantage which we have over other clubs. And travel. Now, this is something which you'll probably not get to do until we go back to campus. But before the coronavirus pandemic, the Debsoc members are actually the only club who go to other institutes to represent IIT Guwahati on a very regular basis. I mean, all clubs eventually have something what is called the inter IIT meet, where various IITs get together and compete in various events like dance, drama, etc., etc. All clubs do that, but that only happens once a year, and it only happens in IITs. However, because there are debates in various institutes all over the country, and and it's not just IITs, right? It happens in Delhi University and various law schools. We actually travel a lot to go from one debate to another. And if you like traveling and if you want to have that experience as part of your college life, That is again something which you can do as a member of the Debsoc. So, as this meme says, I mean, a lot of people join to improve their logical analysis or speaking skills. But if you're just somebody who likes to travel, we'll have a spot for you in the club as well. And this is a small area where debates will not really help you. I mean, no matter how good of a debater you are, your mom probably does not have to stop shouting at you after 7 minutes. So, yeah, I guess you don't need to. Okay. So this is something. This is one of the questions I kept getting when I released the poster. Is what are the prerequisites to join the club? And this is something which I really want all of you to pay attention, because this is very, very important before you join the club, and we expect all of you to like read up on all of these things. So there are no prerequisites to joining Debsoc. We don't really think you need that. I mean, especially after writing JE and things like that. We're sure that most of us have good critical thinking skills and analytical skills. And as long as you have that and you're able to look at any topic in a rational manner, you can do very, very well at Debsoc. And it's just about practice. So it's very open, and all of you are welcome to join the Debsoc to improve as a thinker and as a speaker. So now I'll hand it over to Saurabh. He's also a third year in the club, and he'll tell you what actually happens in the club and what you have missed so far. So yeah, Saurabh. Can you hear me? Just 1 second. I think Saurabh is not able to hear the meeting. 1 second. Let me just check on Saurabh and see what went wrong with him. Sorry for the technical problem. Yeah, okay. He's back.
Hello.
Yeah, Saurabh? Yeah, you're audible now. You're breaking, Saurabh. Hello? Hmm. Okay, I think I'll start this section and
Hello.
we'll wait for Saurabh. Yeah,
Siddharth,
Saurabh?
yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, now you're audible. Now you're audible. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
continue.
yeah. So,
Sorry.
like, just giving an introduction of myself. I'm Saurabh. I'm a computer science undergraduate, third year. Like, and I've been a part of Debsoc since the past 3 years. So, I'll be covering the most like intriguing section that you might often think about, that what actually happens in the club once you join here, right? So, like, talking about, like, giving a brief overview about what happens within the club. Number one, the weekly debates. Number two, the open debates. Number three, Manthan, which is the inter-hostel tournament that usually happens between different hostels. Number four, the debate tournaments that we do, and number five is the discussion and the everyday fun that we have. Like, we'll cover each one of them in brief. So that, can you move to the next slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the very first thing is the Manthan. So what is, like, you guys obviously haven't been allotted hostels currently, but once you have joined the campus, there is something called Manthan, which is going to be the cultural competitions between different hostels, and this is where we have this inter-hostel debate tournament where we have different people from different hostels competing against each other within a specific format. And the best part about this tournament is, number one, this acts as the very first thing where you get to experience how debating actually works. There have been many novice people which have joined Debsoc through this thing. Since for you guys, this is going to be completely online. What we have, like, we might plan a different thing. We might plan a different online tournament for you guys in the future. We'll see about that once the correct time comes. But what is the essential idea behind holding this debate tournaments within the campus Janta is because number one, you get to experience obviously the inter-hostel culture. Number two, it will act as one of your entry points for the Debsoc, and you'll get to experience how debating actually works like. So, Siddharth, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So, there's something another thing that we usually host. This is called the open debates. So, what is it actually? So imagine that we don't want to limit the debating culture within the people who are only part of the DepSoc, right? There will be a handful of people who are a part of DepSoc, but we want to expand this culture throughout the whole campus community, right? So for this purpose, we usually organize the open debates. What we invite people all across the campus, made with PhDs, MTechs, BTechs, obviously professors, and all across, even the married scholars. All of the campus janta is invited to be a part of these debates. We have certain we choose very hot topics that usually interest the masses. Like recently, we had one open debate with respect to the Kashmir issue. Then last year, we also had a open debate regarding freedom of speech and versus the offense of religion. These are hot topics that usually trend in this world nowadays, right? So what the idea behind hosting such debates is, one, to engage the campus community in general. Number two, like with respect to the speakers also, we invite speakers from all across different backgrounds, and even we get usually a large amount of participation from within the campus janta who are going to drive away to view these actual debates. So I think that if you have heard about Oxford Union debates or something like a very structured form of debates that you usually see within the parliament, these are something going to be similar to that. So that next slide, please. Yeah, so I think this is the most interesting part of what we do, right? So, as a part of a debating society, only the club members, what we usually do is meet on a regular intervals every week, and we usually take some motions to debate upon, and we usually have this habit of doing weekly debates. The ideal frequency goes around 2 debates per week. During the online thing, because of the semester, we had to reduce that frequency, but when we are in college, we usually do that 2 times per week. So now the best part about having these weekly debates is, number one, you have that rush of dopamine within yourself that, hey, I want to excel within this particular field. So now when you see that your opposition or the side that is not supporting your idea is running an argument that is going to destroy your case, you usually take a very enthusiastic stance, and you start having that feeling that, hey, I want to beat this particular person, or I want to deliver a speech that is going to destroy the whole opposition, right? So what we mean to say is that debating instills a lot of enthusiasm, instills a lot of passion in you when you are kind of debating. So these weekly debates usually interest within us a lot of confidence, and this is also a fun activity, right? It is not something that we do just only to like comfort ourselves, or only to educate ourselves, right? Apart from the academics, this often is a fun activity that we usually do. Talking about me personally, I've spent literally 1 or 2 years specifically dedicating myself to this particular activity. The sole reason being that this was a mood buster for me, not because I was interested or I was like, there were other motives also, but the main thing behind debating was that it was actually a fun activity for me. Siddharth, next slide, please. Yeah, so I think the best part about being a part of debating society is that you get to you get to go to a lot of debate tournaments outside your institute, right? So Siddharth, as already told about that, we have already went to inter-IT cultural meets before, which, like, talking about the past 2 years, which happened in IIT Roorkee and IIT Bombay. But apart from that, we also go to debate tournaments all across the country. We have went to Varanasi, we have went to Kolkata, we have went to Bangalore previously. So the idea behind going to debate tournaments outside our particular institute is to engage with different institutes, right? So there are not only engineering colleges that usually debate, there are different law colleges, there are different specifically commerce colleges that usually debate. It is actually fun debating with them and getting known to a very diverse circuit where this university debating actually takes place, right? So, and this is actually fun when you go out to college trips with your college mates, and we also travel there. We also enjoy the street food there. This is all a part of fun that usually comes along with going to debate tournaments, right? So talking about as you can see, we when we went to Varanasi, we went Zagir Khan on our way to the airport, or there have been usually cases where we have had a lot of fun, right? So I think that being a part of Debsoc usually interests within you and instill a confidence or a motivation to travel all across the country, right? So Siddharth, next slide, please. Yeah, and I think this is what, so the debate marathons are usually what we do is we for 5 straight days we'll usually held a lot of discussions. We'll usually hold a lot of debates just to have this have this sense of feeling within us that yes, we have been debating for a large period of time, right? So what happens usually when you take a gap from this debate from this activity, you usually tend to forget or you usually tend to dissociate yourself from this activity, right? So debating marathons are usually something that we do for, let us say that we'll meet 5 consecutive days and debate every day. So, and we usually keep it on different themes. So like today, if I'm going to debate on a political issue, the next day I'm going to debate on an economics issue. The next day I'm going to debate on a religious issue. So I think that the best part about debate marathons is that you usually get to engage in a variety of topics, not just only political debates that many of you would have interested with debating, but we also debate with respect to philosophy, we debate with respect to feminism, we debate with respect to religion, and this is the kind of domains that debating society introduces you to. So I think that this is one of the major advantages that you do not gain in any particular club within the campus community. So yeah, and Siddharth, next slide, please. Yeah, I think that the last thing that I want to talk about is what kind of fun or what kind of discussions that we usually have. So I think that one of the primary things that needs to be understood here is that at debating society we do not only debate. The second thing that we do is holding discussions. So not all of us know about every topic. So there can be different things that is there to learn from a specific club member, or there is a certain issue that we are not comfortable with. So what we do here is that we hold certain group discussions or we hold certain presentations on those topics, so that every of the club member, or even we have hold certain sessions with the campus community also. So these sessions usually educate us, usually empower us with different themes, right? We have held discussions on different political topics, again religion, or different principles that are usually associated with a debate. So I think that these discussions usually empower you with a lot of things. And the
Saurabh? Okay, I think he got disconnected. Um,
yeah,
just give me a second.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So, what is the fun part that we usually do, right, at the club? Number one, we as you since the since the activity of debating has went to the online mode, we have entrusted with us a lot of things. Number one, we usually play the hot game, which has been there among us. Then we usually play Pictionary to engage ourselves. After debating, we usually get tired, so there have been cases we have engaged in different fun games planned. We usually engage in Pictionary games. We usually play Among Us. So if you want to be a fun, we are not only the intellectual community that you kind of think us to be, but we are also fun people where you can actually have this whole friend circle where you'll actually play games, right? If you are even in campus, we'll play different games like Mafia. If you have ever heard of that game, that's very usual, very popular within the campus janta. Or even you'll get your seniors usually treat you on a regular basis when when if you're a part of Debsoc, and the senior junior interaction thing is also that is going to benefit you a lot in the coming days, right? So I think that being a part of Debsoc usually interests with you a lot of things, and I think you'll have a great time being a part of Debsoc. Is there any other slide apart from this, Siddharth? Yeah. So I think,
Yes.
so yeah, I think Siddharth, you should do this.
Sure. So, yeah, so all the fun and games aside, we have also gone to tournaments and actually won a lot of things as from representing IIT Guwahati. And we're hoping that when you join the club, you also win a lot of things. And this is not just trophies; it's also like cash prizes and things like that. So, I mean, this is at various tournaments. We've won things like the best novice team at NLSPD. And if you know NLS, it's the National Law School at Bangalore, which is the top law school in India. We have performed pretty well at the Inter-IT Cultural Meet, which I told you about before. And there are also individual speakers where many of our speakers have done well at BHU. The actual PD is actually conducted by IIT Guwahati itself. And recently we went to the IIL, which is the law college in Indore, and some of our adjudicators adjudicate. So, okay, this is actually something which we haven't told you about yet. But you don't just learn how to debate in tournaments; you can also go as a judge, and you learn how to assess which arguments are actually good, and you have to defend your judgment of arguments. And basically, you will decide who wins the tournament, who wins a certain debate, but you'll also have to like justify why you think that is the case, right? So that's again one more place where critical thinking really helps you. But yeah, getting back to the point that many of our members are also really good edges, and we've like there are three over here, and there are actually even more people who have broken several tournaments as judges. And by the way, these members range all the way from the second year to the fourth year. So we generally do see a lot of people winning prizes. But it doesn't really depend on the year. It just depends on how much time they spend in the club and how interested they are. Right. So I'm hoping that next year in these slides we can put your name up as well. So this is just so we are nearing the end of the presentation. Don't worry, I will tell you guys about how to join the interaction sessions. We're almost done with the presentation. So this is I wanted to introduce you to everyone who helped make this presentation and the other members of the club. So you've already met Animesh. These are the fourth years of the club. That's Animesh. You've already met him, and this is Rishi. I think some of you are going to meet Rishi in the interaction sessions. And actually, you're going to meet most of the members coming up in the interaction session. So look forward to that. These are some of the third years. This is Bhavnik Vinas and Anirudh, and you've already met Saurabh. And these are the second yearites of the club, your seniors. Um, these are four. This is Tanvi, Jaswant, Roshan, and Titiksha. And there are five more, which is Ayush, Aditya, Priya, Prathamesh, Aditya, and Rishan. So hopefully next year we'll see a lot of you guys on these slides as well. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the presentation. Just two more things before you guys join the interaction session. So first, about how to actually join the club after this orientation. Now we will start a WhatsApp group or a Discord server, whichever one appears to be more popular, where you guys can join, and we will first we can start discussing on the Discord server or the WhatsApp group. Giving you guys motions, having some discussions about it. Then slowly we can have actual meetings with all of you. We can have debates amongst the first yearites, and then we'll also have debates where you can join the club and debate with seniors and have the discussion sessions with seniors as well. So don't worry, there will be a lot of events coming up where we will encourage fresher participation, and which will actually be designed especially just for you. Okay, so I'm seeing there's a lot of a lot of people want Discord, but a lot of people want WhatsApp as well. You know what? We'll do both. Don't worry about it, because these will just serve as discussion areas, and maybe for slight notifications. Because for the actual debates, we will we'll use Google Meets or something like that. And eventually, when a lot of after some of you have started attending debates, then we can let you go for tournaments and things like that as well. So, but for now, all you have to worry about is that keep follow the Facebook page, the Debating Society at IIT Guwahati. That's the Facebook page from where we released the poster for this event. Follow that page, and we will have regular updates on that page about any event. And we also invite you to watch or participate in debates. And yeah, basically, there are a lot of things we can do, and just keep an eye out on the Facebook page. And also, many of you have already registered in the Google Forms. If you have not, you can still register at the Google form so that we have your information. And once we set up a WhatsApp group or a Discord server, we can contact you through those forms. And okay, now about the okay, let me stop sharing my screen. So now about the interaction sessions. So a lot of you have gotten links. You should check your Outlook for those links. Unfortunately, we were not able to give links yet to people who registered, I think, around 4 or 5 o'clock. Some of them might have gotten links, some of them may have not. Don't worry about that. I'll give you links right now and you can join those meetings. Okay, so some people were assigned to group 8, which is the one I'm heading. Because I was giving this presentation, I was not able to let you into the presentation. So you can try joining that link right now. And I will also post some more links in the YouTube live stream chat, which you can join. Just give me a minute. The group leaders can put up their links if they have slots left. So if you have a space in your If you have space in your meetings, put up links in the YouTube chat session. I'm talking to the second and third yearites. Just give me a minute. I'll put up more links in the um, YouTube live chat. But people who have already received links, please use the links which are given to you. You will have them in your Outlook. You should have gotten an email about it. Um, yeah. Um, so how many of you do not have a link, like in your WhatsApp and things like? I mean, in your Outlook. I've put up one link in the chat session. You can join that. And guys from the Debsoc who are already in the Debsoc, if you have space in your meetings, put the link in the YouTube chat. Yeah, just wait a minute. I'll put up links. I've put up two links in the section so far. Prathamesh, you can also put your link in the YouTube live stream. That's fine. I'll end the live stream once most of the rooms are filled. Yeah, so just join the Google Meet right now, and so that you can start your discussion sessions. I'm putting another link on the YouTube chat. Guys, it's in the chat. I mean, if you look for my messages. Can you see the link which I'm posting? Guys, look at the YouTube chat section. That's where you'll find the link. Mm. Okay, 1 second. So maybe we can. Okay, so I'll post it on the Facebook page. I'll post a few links on the Facebook page and you can join from there.
Siddharth,
Yeah?
like the links will be public, I guess, in that way. What I'm suggesting is, um, ask them to fill the form, and then we can relocate them
Yeah, I can't.
different.
Yeah, guys, you can still try to fill the form and get a link. Some of you would have gotten links in your Outlook, so check Outlook because there are a lot of rooms
Do.
from the Outlook section which are still empty. I just posted another link in the live chat.
Siddharth, I have already 12 people in my room, so I'll go. Okay,
Okay.
I'll start.
Yeah, if you have joined the Google Meet, you can leave the live stream. Some people are asking about joining the club. As I said, that when if you want to join the club, this is the orientation is for you to understand what the club does, and eventually we'll also post information about more events on the Facebook page where you will come to know. And once you start joining those events, you can join the club through those routes. Okay. So today, as such, today is just for interaction session for fun. The interaction session is not directly to join the club or something like that.
So that I'll handle the chat session. You just figure out the group color thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Dhairya, we won't remove the video from YouTube. You don't have to worry about that. Okay.
Okay, so I have can you I have sent a link to a lot of people who just filled the form recently, and for anyone else who they can either join a link in the chat box or one which they have been provided already. And if there is someone left, then I mean, these are the only three ways to get into a interaction room right now. If And otherwise, you can wait for the next Facebook event, and you can always, join the debates which we have after this. This is not going to be the final debate which you attend. So please keep an eye out for the Facebook page, and there will be further debates and events on the Facebook page. And yeah, you can join those. So I just posted another link on the chat. And yeah, and also remember that there's another orientation from 7 o'clock from the of Debsoc, and you can join that presentation as well. Okay, so we can end the live stream. Please join the links which we have already posted, right?